Hello Riser Flight enthusiasts, Naked Squirrel here, and I'm going to give a brief tutorial over the boom and zoom tactic. Booming and zooming is a tactic used by aircraft that are much faster than their opponents. A lot of the late war entente planes use this tactic because they're built with speed in mind more than maneuverability. So here I'm going to show you booming and zooming using a Nieuport 28. And my opponent is in an Albatross D3. The main difference between these two planes is that the Nieuport 28 is about 30 kilometers per hour faster than the D3. It also has a better rate of climb. The D3, on the other hand, is a much more movable aircraft and it could easily outturn the Nieuport 28. So here I'm going to show you a tactic, kind of a method you can use to really take advantage of the speed and the power of this aircraft. So, to start off, you usually want to be at a higher altitude than your opponent. As a faster aircraft, you really get to dictate the pace of the combat and where and when you get to engage. You don't want to start to try booming and zooming at low altitude. It's kind of one of the common misconceptions I see with boom and zoom planes is that they'll come in for one head-on attack and then they'll run away. And this it's not a very good way to utilize these faster aircraft. You really want to take advantage of the fact that you can get a lot of speed in your dive and then recover a lot of altitude after you make an attack. If you simply run in for a head-on pass, it's kind of a 50-50 chance. Here you can see I'm pulling up, I'm keeping altitude over this D3, and I'm making very wide circles around him and setting myself up for diving attacks before pulling back up to regain altitude and then set myself up for yet another attack. The reason this works is, one, it's very difficult for the D3 to keep his nose on me. Although he can turn inside of my wider circles, he can't both turn inside of me and keep his guns on me at the same time. In order to shoot at me, he has to pull up, like you see here, and stall out. So whenever he pulls up to stall out, he's going to set himself up for an attack from me, because he's going to have to regain that energy in order to stay in the air. Really, booming and zooming relies on energy management. You kind of want to gauge your opponent and see how well he manages his energy, and you also want to do a good job of keeping your airspeed and keeping altitude over your opponent. You don't want to just wait for your opponent to make attacks on you. As a faster aircraft, you really get to dictate the pace of the combat. Right here it's very slow, so that I can kind of show you the basics of booming and zooming. You can conduct a lot of attacks and try and put your opponent on the defensive. But here I'm just very slowly pulling up, doing long, wide circles, so you can kind of get the basics of how booming and zooming can really work. It's just slow diving attacks, and then you'll get a lot of speed in your dive, and then you're going to exchange that speed after your attack for altitude. And you're relatively safe. You're a really difficult target to return fire at, and instead of getting locked in a turning dogfight where you're at a severe disadvantage, now you have a little bit more of an edge over your opponent. You're not completely safe because he can pull up and shoot back at you, but you're a hard target, and you're setting yourself up for about an equal amount of attacks as your opponent, if not more. It kind of depends on how well you can manage your energy and how well you can monitor your opponent and how he manages his. This is a tactic that's best used in groups of 2 or more. simply because you can coordinate your attacks and put your opponent on the defensive. He'll lose a lot of energy making sharp maneuvers and turns to escape your diving attacks. And if you get caught in a tight spot, you don't simply have to dive away. You can extend and allow one of your allies or friends to shoot at your opponent to get him off your tail. So if you get in a tight spot, it's usually better to be in a group of 2 or more. Otherwise, if you get caught at co-altitude, you usually want to dive away and return once you have sufficient altitude over your opponent. I kind of did this tutorial for new pilots, because I see a lot of new flyers will get frustrated with some of these entente planes. They can't turn with the late war German aircraft in the game. And this is a kind of method you can use to, I hope, to get a little more advantage in Rise of Flight. The Nieuport 28 isn't a completely useless plane. It's just different. It's you have to employ it differently on the battlefield than you would in Albatross or some of these quicker, more agile aircraft. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I'd love to see you on the Tides of War server sometime soon. Check us out at www.tidesofwar.net. You can feel free to join us on TeamSpeak, and good luck out there.